Next is from Herb Britt III. The subject is mending fences. What's up, everybody in Iran? Day one-ish listener here, and you guys have been able to keep it continuously fresh. Question to Conan: would you consider a crossover with Click This Nash and Oliver? I know the heat with Oliver is well documented, but with all four of you, Di included, having worked with each other in some capacity, I was just wondering if you'd be open to something like this. It's from Keeping 100 HP3 in Jamestown. Well, first of all, I thought we were supposed to get Nash on this show. What happened
Right.
there?
Well,
I've written. Go ahead.
yeah, he asked for some time. When we
Let's hit him
first
up
asked,
again. Hit him up again.
I did hit him up like last month, and I didn't hear back, so I don't want to nag him and
Maybe
stuff like
Conan
that.
should.
I'll try.
Or
Again.
I'll hit him up. Yeah. All
Um,
right, next. Yeah. Well,
but Nash has said on that show, because people have talked about Conan and Sean Oliver having their beef or whatever. Nash has said on the show, like, I don't want that anymore. This is a safe space for Conan to come hang out if he wants, that kind of thing. So the bridges, or the fences have been mended, I think.
Well, we're all friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next is from David Benz. The subject is Roman Reigns. Dear Keep It 100 crew, is Roman really that guy? Or has the company just gave him GOAT status to have someone on the modern era up there with the greats? What I mean as a fan, do you sense a connection with Roman and his fans in their eras did with Bruno, Hogan, Brett, Austin, Rock, and Cena? Is Roman just a corporate-built legend, or has he truly connected and been a people's champion? Bro, Roman is an incredible performer and actor.
Well, not only that,
right up there. Yeah,
you can't compare him to Bruno or Hogan or Brett or the other guys or Cena because he's a heel. Those guys were baby faces.
Right. Well, plus
Yeah, I wouldn't.
I'll say this.
Mm-hmm.
I would say Roman's acting skills are better than Bruno and Hogan.
Yeah.
Maybe not Austin and Rock and stuff like that, but bro, the level of his in the vignettes and stuff and thing, he's far better than Bruno was.
Yes, his
Bruno wasn't like an actor. He was just like, hey, Hogan was like, let me tell you something, brother. So it's like, yeah, I would say he's definitely way up there.
He, I agree that in the beginning he might have been an attempt at a corporate creation to replace Cena or whatever. But ever since he came back in the middle of the pandemic as a heel, like the last 3 years, he's been incredible, and I would put him up there with the WWE.
It's been a hell of a deal. All right, next is a Roy Lucier, and the subject is movies for guys who like movies. Hey, K100 team, I'll set this over with the protocol. First compliment. Disco truly is the Bobby Heenan of this generation and allow himself to be laughed at and mocked simply for the entertainment of the public.
That's a hell of a compliment.
No, yeah, we're going to suspend him for a week for that. Second, your criticisms of the business are truly rooted for care for this business, not to simply come across as grumpy old man yelling at clouds. Now, on to the question. Spent a lot of my free time transferring VHR tapes I've sent to DVD. I recently came across an episode of WCW Thunder smack dab in the middle of the Monday Night Wars, where there's a segment where WCW wrestlers would plug movies for guys who like movies. In late 1998, of all people, Disco Inferno is the one plugging the movie of the night, which was, get this, Stone Cold, the Brian Bosworth movie. Now, did anyone at all kind of question or bring up that while you're plugging that movie? It also happens to be the name of the main character with the rival company. I could tell you really had fun with this, as you went hard saying you got to go out of your way to watch Stone Cold. Just seeing if you had any memories of this. Keep up the great work, everyone. Thanks again, Conan, for coming to Sacramento. I hope you enjoyed the personal bucket of ice, and I'll see you in Tijuana. Conan, explain to me what this is from Roy Lucier, a personal bucket of ice story.
Yeah, you're muted. Okay.
Well, the thing is remember, he listens to the show, and remember how, well, you weren't on the cruise, but on the cruise, Jericho had some guy, I forgot his name, who his job was to have a bucket of ice for Jericho, and it said Jericho's Ice. And I said, one day I want my own personal Iceman. So he came to my signing with a bucket of ice that said Conan's Ice.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
No, I don't
Stone
remember.
Cold? Yeah.
No clue. No idea. Next is from Wyatt Grindley, and the subject is mailbag question. Hope you guys are all well. My question is about Bam Bam Bigelow. Recently saw that he'll be featured in an episode of Dark Side of the Ring and want to know if Conan Disco had any stories about working with him, even from backstage or road parties, clubs, etc. He was my favorite as a kid, always stood out due to the head tattoos and size. You never hear wrestlers talk about him much, but Bret Hart and Kevin Nash was one of the best athletic big men, and he was easy to work with. WWE apparently trusted him enough to put him in with Lawrence Taylor in the main event of WrestleMania instead of a guy like Nash. It seems as though he got over everywhere it went. He also had some movie roles back in the day like Major Payne and Ready to Rumble. Also curious if you guys know anything about his life away from the ring, such as spending 6 months in prison in Mexico City for legal bounty hunting or saving 3 children from a fire in Jersey. Thanks for all the nonstop content you guys are publishing to help me get through the work each week. As a sports writer, I really enjoy that segment because you guys know your not a suggestion, but I'd like to hear you guys talk more about new and old movies as well. Best wishes, especially Conan with health issues.
Wait a minute. So this professional sports journalist says that you guys know how to talk about sports because I heard that we couldn't do a sports show anymore. That,
yeah, right.
Nobody knew.
No, I don't want to talk about that. So next,
what about Bammer?
Wait, 6 months in prison in Mexico City for legal bounty hunting. You know anything about this, Conan?
No,
I don't know much of Bam Bam.
I think that's like a story that was built up to build up his character, like it happened pre-wrestling. I don't know if it's real or not. It might be. I don't know.
I don't really have a lot. I didn't hang out with Bam Bam. I know we like to party, like to do pills and everything, but other than that, it's like I don't.
You never worked.
Yeah, I know I did work with them a lot.
Did you? Oh, okay.
Yeah, with Hall and
right
with Hall and
yeah,
they did we did like 3-4 weeks of TV with that guy.
Yeah.
And he was always cool to work with. But bro, that was the one thing about it. He was a big guy, super light. Like that's why he was always good to work with. He was he would never stiff you. Just like for a guy that size, you're thinking like you might be like be a rough night. Always great to work with. He was an excellent worker.
great look. People loved him. I wrestled him in the World Peace Fest, Antonio Inoki World Peace Festival in L.A. It was me, him, and Jericho in a 3-way match, and I went over, and he wasn't. He didn't complain or anything. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But the one thing that I do remember of him, because I didn't hang out with him, they had like little groups of people that hung out in the locker room, and I wasn't in his group and he wasn't in mine. But he did give me and a certain friend of mine mushrooms for the first time.
Short story about Bam Bam. You guys might not know this, might be interested. So Bam Bam and Candido and Shane Douglas, that became the ECW Triple Threat, they all had heat with the Clique in WWE, right? And they all left due to that, supposedly. So when Scott Hall tried to visit an ECW show in Florida, he came with Justin Credible, who was his buddy. And Bammer, Candido, and Douglas told him to leave, kicked Hall out of the locker room in the show. Disco, you might have heard this, being Scott's buddy, So there was heat there. But when Bam Bam had the opportunity to go to WCW, you'd think the Clique, who were supposedly so poisonous, would have been like, no, don't hire that guy. But because they knew he could work and would be good for business, they welcomed him with open arms and all the heat was squashed. And then, as you saw, almost immediately, Bam Bam worked with Scott. So
it's true. Next is from Jared Aviat. The subject is dumpster fire talents. Greetings, K100 fam. Hope everyone is doing well. I was listening to Ray Dupree's review of AEW recently on his show, and he mentioned that the sleep-inducing Best Friends team and the awful Nia Rose is on the show. I was surprised. I assume with all the new talents that have come in that these folks have been future endeavored a long time ago. They're brutal and were channel changers for me. Why does the crew think that these people have been kept around for this long, considering that Renee in his review is very, very down on their work? Someone wrote to me stating Khan would never get rid of Nyla Rose due to not upsetting the crystals in the LGBT community. Although I'm not sure what trans rights have to do with someone being an awful performer or not. Curious to your thoughts. Regards, and that's from Jared. They do a lot of stuff on. They use a lot of talent on that show that pops up in angles that like they brought the Dark Order back in this week to be in part of with the Adam Page stuff.
And the Elite, yeah.
And I'm like, really? I don't know. There's a different perception of like that community, that echo chamber, and their fans of their talent than I have. I would agree with Jared on this. It's like I don't. Like, they don't need the Best Friends, and they don't need Nyla Rose on that show. Like Nyla Rose's work, she looked like she had a title match this week.
Yep.
And she looked like her match looked like she hasn't worked in forever. Like her strikes were very weak looking. So she looked like rusty. So I don't know.
I mean, how often is she used? Really, I'm not sure.
Very rarely. So it's like I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Conan?
Yeah, I just think that a lot of people, the fans, their fan base liked them, and Tony doesn't want to upset them, or maybe Tony likes them personally, doesn't want to get rid of them, because there's a lot of people that should not be there.
I guess she's been on Dark a lot, so she's been working. Yeah.
Next is from Max Nardi, and the subject is Puddin' Gang. What's up, guys? Somebody asked Jim Cornette what the Puddin' Gang was from a while ago. Jim said it wasn't from anything in particular. It was just a name he came up with that was supposed to evoke the R Gang. Basically saying the best friends are an imaginary knockoff of Little Rascals. P.S. Diet Crack is still dead. We listened to K100 from the grave.
I don't know what the that means.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't even want to respond to this.
You know what? For writing while I'm suspending, Beanie.
You got to be right. Next is from Gulad Ahmed. Subject: Jamie Hayter's what Chris Statlander should have been.
Yeah, right.
Yo, K100 crew. Does AEW not see anything in Jamie Hayter? No, she had to lose the belt because of sustained injuries, but I mean, she has the look, size, and in-ring ability. Maybe promo work, I don't know. Then you have Chris Statlander, that they have the opportunity of a lifetime in Jade Streak, and she's the same, if not more, than Jamie Hayter. Again, why did AEW drop the ball with Hayter during her whole title reign? And thanks from Hangsight, Jamie Hayter's still a baddie. I'll tell you exactly the problem with Jamie Hayter was. She looked like she couldn't be on TV unless Britt Baker was with her, is the way they were portraying her. And Britt Baker, like, even when she won the belt, Britt Baker would do half the talk, and it's like, why are these two together? Like, she's always looked as like a secondary character to that Britt Baker's been portrayed as like the Britt Baker sidekick. And all they had to do was just give her her platform, let her do all the talking. She's the champion and everything. They've just neutered her because they keep pushing Britt Baker as like a more important character than her. Would you agree with that, Conan?
Yeah, I said that months ago. The same thing you just said. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, that's what's wrong. It's like, she's done nothing wrong. She's just being booked in a very weird spot. It's like, why are you still...
Brit's getting all the...
right. Like, and you're the champ. You know, it's like, I don't, yeah, very, very weird booking there.
So Brit's like Hulk Hogan and Hayter is Randy Savage.
I'm not even.
No, at least Savage talked, bro. Savage was his own deal. There were two big superpowers. This is just her, and she's in her shadow. Not the same thing, Joe.
I mean, when they teamed up as the Mega Powers, Hogan was always front and center, and Savage would be over his shoulder, kind of thing. You know?
But he was still an over the top.
But it's not the same thing. But
she doesn't have
Randy Savage was super over, right?
Right, and he had a personality that was over. She's kind of like trying to get there,
like
but
in her shadow.
Have a chance. She says 5 words, and Britt Baker.
It's like when I was with LAX, Feeney, if I never let them talk, they were always in my shadow, but I let them talk. You know what I'm saying?
But she's got something where the groundswell behind her when she won the belt, it got a great reaction. You know, like people are waiting for her to get
but she hasn't been. But she has not been booked properly to further her character,
right?
Or to make her more of a big deal than she is. You know. Next is from Justin Alcade, and the subject is world title, not in the main event. Hello, Disco Conan and Joe. What do you guys think whenever there's a wrestling pay-per-view where the world title is not being defended in the main event? Do you think it hurts the presentation? It looks like the world title is not the focus of the program. No, I disagree with that because, like, for perfect example, if, like, George Masvidal is wrestling Gilbert Burns, like, I think that's a bigger fight than, you know, who's the guy? Aljamain Sterling against so and so. You know what I'm saying? Like I just think the level of stardom guys bring and the level of strength and the level and how much money they drew for the pay per view should determine how high on the cards you are. I don't necessarily agree with this. What about you, Conan?
Yeah, neither do I. I just think if there's a real good, interesting match, a cage match, something like that, or a dream match, or
for example,
you could put Ray versus Dominic in a main event, no title on the line.
And for example, in Mexico, you could do hair versus mask in the main event with the world title match underneath. You know, it's because the other one's more important. Okay,
hair versus hair, mask versus mask. Yeah,
right. Yeah. Next is from Tessum Lion. And the subject is introduction of CM Punk. Do you think maybe Tony should have used some video packages for some introductions instead of major announcements? Do you think he's opposed to it? He has a whole Ring of Honor library to use, and its best use was when MJF revealed himself at All Out as the Devil. Do you agree that he could have made this announcement a better way by using historic video? I don't know. I guess it's kind of a very weird question to ask. Like, I guess. Yeah, I don't know.
I could see both sides. I could see them saying, well, Punk doesn't need a big hoopla. All you need is to say, hey, he's going to be there and people are going to watch. But I said it last week during a Dynamite review. I think a video package or a bigger deal made out of it would have been better.
Bro, just imagine if WWE and UFC didn't have video packages. That's
Yeah.
that's what makes the show so great.
Yeah, how could you possibly watch UFC without that? You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you need
Next
that.
is some Renegade Man 83, and the subject is Angel Garza Heat in WWE. Hey guys, just want to ask you about your thoughts on the absence of lack of TV time Angel Garza has been receiving. Guys, all the tools to be a star in the WWE, the looks, the charisma, the great body. His English has improved, but don't expect him to go to 30-minute debate. I don't know why WWE isn't pushing him. Does he have heat, or is he injured? Or they lost interest in him? I know he's in a tag team with his cousin, and they did what they can with the gimmick they were given. Also, a question for Conan. Did Angel ever call you and ask for advice on what he should do and what he needs to improve?
No, because I think that they just haven't found anything for him, which is weird because the guy's uber talented and they found stuff for other guys that aren't as talented. I don't think he would have any heat. Um, I saw him in WrestleMania. We're really good friends. He used to work with me in AAA. They just haven't gotten to him yet, and they will because the guy's very talented.
Next is some Russ Ray. And the subject
Or
is
they would have released him.
This is interesting here. The subject is Conan 2000.
Right.
Dear K100 crew, been a long time listener of the show since the MLW days when you Conan calls him Kurt, and MSL played golf with Tully Blanchard, sort of. My question is for Conan. I read an online review of a terrible U.S. promotion, I'm guessing this is from the mid-90s, called AWF, where they wrestled in 5-minute rounds. One of the wrestlers on the roster was billed as Conan 2000, although in reality it was Scott Putski. Did Putski of the promotion ever come to you to ask permission to use your name? And did you own the name or did AAA? And more broadly for both Conan and Disco, did either have to deal with other wrestlers infringing on your gimmicks post WCW? Thanks. That's from Russ.
Yeah, they never called me about this. That was he was wrestling for a promoter in Monterrey called Carlos Minas, for those of you that are in Mexico. And since I was in the United States, he started to use that guy as Conan 2000 because I was very popular at that time and Vampiro was very popular. So they had John Bradshaw, believe it or not, come in as a American vampire doing the Vampiro's gimmick. Yeah, I did own that name, but bro, I didn't give a because I knew people knew that the original Conan was me, and they still have a guy in Monterey, very very popular, called Conan Big. They had another guy called Conan Gay. I mean, they had a whole bunch of Conans at one time in Monterey.
Disco might not be aware of this, but there was actually a couple of guys after the late 90s that used the name. They didn't use Disco Inferno, but there was a guy named Disco Machine. He was one of the founders of PWG, and then there was a guy named Disco Fury too. You ever hear of those guys?
Nope.
Yeah, I know.
It was funny too. I guess there was a tag team called the Boogie Knights,
right,
on the Indies, and like me and Conan, like me and Alex, like used the name Boogie Knights because it was like obvious, and like they thought that we stole that from, and I'd never heard of them. So it's like it's kind of weird. So it's like I don't know, like they were like giving us heat and stuff. I'm like, dude, I never heard of you guys. Like,
Apparently, this Disco Machine guy that Conan said he knew teamed up with Joey Ryan on Wrestling Society X as the '70s guy. So he probably did come out with a disco gimmick.
The hell of a deal. Next from Ryan. Last one's from Ryan Damone. The subject is Brian Adams' Great Ribber. Recently, I heard Brian Adams' Great Ribber and could do great impressions. I never heard this story before. This is interesting.
I've heard it.
His Pat Patterson impression was so great, he once tricked Billy Jack Haynes into thinking Pat hired him for a WWE job. When he showed up, no one in the WWE knew what he was talking about. Did you guys see any of his ribs? And what was he popular to be around? Thanks, and that's from Ryan. I did not know this. I didn't know Ryan,
because it was like 91 it was like 91 or 92, and Billy had been out of the spotlight, Billy Jack Haynes, for a while. So I guess he took this call like, yes, back to the big time, and I need money. This is going to be awesome. And he showed up, and nobody knew what he was talking about. He said in his shoot he thought about killing Brian Adams over it, actually. But yeah.
That's been our. You got any comment on that? Do you know about Brian Adams being a big ribber, Conan?
No.
All right. So that's from that's been our mailbag.
Enjoy the rest of the show. Boom.